Hello, everybody, and welcome to Two Canadians Football Podcast. I'm your host, Matty P.
And I'm here, C-Money, Chris Miller.
The Mullet Man.
Mullet Man in full effect.
Woo!
Oh, yeah.
And today we are going to be focusing on late round targets. So any players in the later rounds. But first off, let's start with some news.
Yes. Big news today.
Big news today. Kyler Murray has been given a 5-year contract, $230 million.
Yeah, big contract extension for him. That's awesome for him. 160 guaranteed, 161 guaranteed.
I believe $160 million guaranteed.
Yeah. Peanuts. That's great for him. Good for him.
Yeah, I'm sure Cardinals fans are loving the news.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's exciting for if you're an Arizona Cardinals fan. Most definitely.
And also, Brady has a new friend at the tight end position.
Yes, this one hits close to home. Has a warm spot in my heart, so I hope he does well this season. Kyle Rudolph signing with the soon-to-be world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who knows? But I do think that's a really good signing for them because, if without Gronk, Brady is going to be missing that big tight end red zone target that he loves to utilize. And I think Kyle Rudolph is a perfect fit for that team if he's used properly. He's not going to streak down the field and beat guys the way that Gronk could, but within the 20-yard, once you're inside the red zone, inside the 20-yard line, he's a beast. He's really hard to guard. He's tall, he's strong, and he's really good at kind of out rebounding the defending player.
Does Rudolph have a championship?
No, he does not. He's been a Viking his whole career. And he played last year. He was cast off and
the Giants,
signed with
right?
the Giants. Yeah, did one season with New York. This is what happens to players towards the end of their careers when their team that the only team they've played for doesn't really want them anymore. Doesn't want to pay what they want to be paid, probably what they deserve to be paid. They end up having to walk unless they just swallow their pride, so to speak, and take a lower deal. But most guys don't want to do that, so Kyle ended up signing a 3-year deal with the Giants, and he only played one season before being released, and now he's back on the free agent market. Made himself open to returning to the Vikings on the radio in an interview of maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago at most. But he said he did have options that he was weighing, and I think that maybe the Vikings didn't really feel like they wanted to add him, I guess. I don't know. I think he would have been a good number 2 or 3 tight end for them. But I think they just want to clear the way for Irv and just not really have, tension in the room. I don't know if that would exist. Kyle seems like a pretty good guy, but you never know.
So good on Kyle Rudolph for chasing a Super Bowl ring with the GOAT.
Yeah, for sure. Good luck, except if you play the Vikings in the playoffs.
There you go. So that's it for the news. We will get right to our main segment here, late round targets. Mostly targets that are in the double-digit rounds. Deep shots all the way to 24-round drafts. We're getting crazy. We're getting crazy here.
Yeah, so these are deep shots. These are not people you're targeting in early rounds. This is later, probably 8th, 9th, 10th plus. 8th, that's not that late. But yeah, we decided we're cutting it off at Juju. That's the highest.
Speaking of the
highest
8th,
he could be ranked.
Speaking of the 8th, that's where Juju's projected to go in most rounds, and I think Juju has some good upside entering his 6th season with a new team, a 1-year contract with Kansas City. We don't know what even happens past this season. He could sign long term with them, but you want to get in on some Juju stock.
Yeah, if you want to be, I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes. It's a pretty muddied wide receiver situation. Nobody really knows for sure who's going to end up the clear-cut number one, or if they're even going to have a clear-cut number one. It might just get spread around a whole bunch. But Juju seems kind of like he would be the most likely candidate to end up as the number one. He's done it in the past, not a lot, but at least once or twice with Ben Roethlisberger. And so now he's kind of on a prove-it deal. When you're only on a one-year deal, you're trying to put a lot of good film out there for next year's free agency to either stick with the team you're on or to get a bigger deal somewhere else. So I think that's a good target. I guess I'll go next. I'll target Adam Thielen. I think he's been a really good player for a very long time. He's probably Kirk Cousins' favorite red zone target at this point. Kirk trusts him, and he knows how to read Adam, and he trusts that Adam reads coverages and the way the defense is playing him the same as he sees it. And so he gets a lot of touchdowns and a lot of red zone looks. So that's a big thing in fantasy because touchdowns are worth a lot of points. So that would be my number one wide receiver mid to late round target. He is climbing back boards though as well. I think a lot of people are kind of figuring out that he is worth a lot. The injury history is a little bit scary because he is getting older now, and he did miss time the last couple seasons, so he is a little riskier, which is probably baked into the ADP.
Always been a big Thielen fan myself, and especially those full point PPR leagues. He has helped people tremendously.
Definitely.
So the next wide receiver on my list is Jalen Tolbert, the rookie. He's entering a situation with Dallas where he's only 23 years old, but there are plenty of vacated targets with Amari Cooper gone and Gallup hurt and probably not starting the season. So I think Jalen Tolbert is worth a gamble in the later rounds, the double-digit rounds. I've seen him go as low as like round 14, 15, 16 in a lot of startups. But I think he's I think he's someone you want on your team even in redraft leagues. Keep an eye on him because he could probably go real late in redraft.
Yeah, he might be worth a dart throw late for sure. He's like you said, there's got to be somebody that takes over that wide receiver too. So it's going to be between him and James Washington, I believe, to start the year. And then once Gallup gets back, he'll maybe get pushed down a little bit depending on how he's doing that far into the season. Because Gallup we kind of know what we got with Gallup, and he's a pretty good receiver. So that's a good choice. For mine, I guess I'll go with another kind of obvious one too. I like Russell Gage a lot, especially to start the year. Kind of the same reasons as you like Tolbert. Chris Godwin is injured and probably not going to play until October or maybe even November, depending on how his recovery or rehab goes. Gronk is now gone, retired. And the fact that Brady really wanted him on the Bucs, he courted him. He tried to get him to sign with the Bucs, and so he did. That tells me that Brady likes him. And so I think he's in for a really good start of the year. We'll see what happens once Godwin returns, but winning games early in the season matters just as much as winning late. So I think you could do well with grabbing Russell Gage late.
Yeah, I like Russell Gage. Only 26 years old, entering a solid position and chance to win and succeed over there in Tampa Bay.
Definitely.
For my next choice here, it's another wide receiver. As you can see, there's a trend here. A lot of late round wide receivers that I really like this season. So if you do go heavy running back in your drafts, I think there's a lot of nice dart throws late. And this guy's name is Josh Palmer. He's 22 years old, turns 23 in September. He was a third-round pick. Last year, he caught 33 passes on 49 targets, 353 yards, 4 touchdowns. Someone got hurt there, and he basically succeeded in his adjusted role. And yeah, like I mentioned, only 22 years old on a top 5 offense. I'll take some shares of Josh Palmer everywhere because he's going very late.
Yeah, definitely a late round target. Okay, I guess I'll do one more receiver then as well. I've been hearing some good things about Matt Jones more recently, about how he's really committed to working out and getting in shape, which means he's probably fully committed to just giving himself to football and going all in. So that makes, to me, the New England Patriots wide receivers a little bit more interesting. Again, it's a muddied group. We don't really know who the top player is going to be necessarily. Jacoby Myers, is it going to be Devontae Parker, who's new coming in? I kind of like the idea of grabbing one or two of them. If you want to do a late stack with Mac Jones, Jacoby Myers, and Devontae Parker, you could get them all really cheap and just have a nice little stack if they actually start doing well, because that team should be pretty good. They're coached by Bill Belichick, and you know it's going to be a tough team. The defense will be good. So if Mac Jones takes the step forward that it looks like he possibly might be doing, that could be a nice little stack. But the one I'm picking, if I'm going to pick one, I'm going to say Devontae Parker, because I think that he's a good player that's kind of just hasn't quite lived up to his expectations. And I think maybe poor quarterback play is kind of what has contributed to him not living up to the hype. So he would be another late round target I would look at.
For my next choice, I'm going to go to the tight end position. And this is a name you've heard me talk about on prior episodes. I'm very high on this guy. Cole Kmet plays for the Chicago Bears. He's only 23, just turned 23 this past March, entering his third season, where last year he saw 60 receptions on 93 targets, 0 touchdowns. I am very high on Cole Kmet. He's 6'6". We got a new OC. We got a new head coach. They're going to get this guy some red zone targets, and they might have some growing pains with Justin Fields, but at the same time, I think this team might be getting slept on just a little bit too much, and at 23 years old, you got to get this guy on your team.
Yeah, I like him more as a long-term play than for redraft, but I do agree that he should be due for some positive touchdown regression. If you get 0 touchdowns with that many targets, something's going on there. You think he would find the end zone. I feel like I watched games where he was getting thrown at in the red zone, and it was like pass interference penalties or weird stuff would happen. Holding, their offensive line is horrible. So I do think he, with even a couple touchdowns, he'll bump up the tight end rankings quite a bit. So I like that choice. I have 2 tight ends. I think Irv Smith is in for a big year. I think that the breakout is coming this year. He's kind of been talked about as a player that should be breaking out for the last 2 seasons, but due to injury in the preseason last season, he was unable to play, and that kind of hindered the whole Vikings offense in a way, because Tyler Conklin did well, but he is not the player that Irv Smith is. And I think this year everyone's going to finally get the chance to see it. So I'm excited for Irv this year. And then my other choice, this is basically playing off the news from today. I think that Kyle Rudolph would be a nice late round dart if you haven't got a tight end in there or as a second tight end option. I do think that he'll have a good year with Brady if he is used in the best possible way as kind of like a red zone target, and I do think that Brady will trust him very quickly because he'll see how sure his hands are and how big a target he is, and I think Brady likes that.
Yes, we mentioned Kyle Rudolph earlier. Well, he fits into this segment very nicely as he's not even being drafted at the moment.
Yeah, no, perfect.
Watch him climb up the draft boards a little bit as we approach the season.
Definitely as a late round dart.
For running back, I have Brian Robinson Jr. He's a rookie, drafted by the Commanders. It's funny to say.
Yeah, it still sounds weird.
I hope they command me some fantasy points. He's a rookie, and I watched his college tape, and I liked what I saw, and I watched some more of it, and I liked what I saw, and he's joining a team that has Antonio Gibson, and they haven't committed to him yet, and they have J.D. McKissick, who's basically just catches balls out of the backfield. So what I get from that is McKissick has no rushing upside. So already I see a nice little path to a lot of touches with Antonio Gibson. I could see a scenario where McKissick just becomes an afterthought and Robinson Jr. plows, watch that college tape, plows his way through. And you never know, maybe supplants Gibson long-term, but maybe even supplants him short-term. And it's just a little thought I had, and there are already reports out of OTAs that they plan on using him at the goal line, which we all want some touchdowns.
That's juicy. I like that. Juicy. For me, as far as running late round running backs go, I like a lot of the handcuffs. So obviously they're not going to be the number ones, but if the number ones get hurt, they're prime candidates to become number ones. So the guys that I'm talking about are your usual suspects. Kareem Hunt just falls slightly above where we were kind of our cutoff line. Same with Tony Pollard, but they would obviously be on there if we weren't talking about that. Melvin Gordon, because Javonte Williams is still young, and sometimes the young guys can't handle the full load yet. We got who else was I thinking? Oh, Michael Carter. I think he's a good option at the ADP that he's sitting, because Breece Hall is a rookie, and he should be a stud, and he should be well worth the higher draft pick. But sometimes it doesn't work for rookies all the time. You just never know. So Michael Carter is a good safety net pick. You've always got Alexander Mattison, who, when Dalvin misses inevitably a game or two, or hopefully not more than that, Alexander Mattison always does well filling in for Dalvin. And then I've got Darrell Henderson, just because we don't know how well Akers might recover from his Achilles injury, and sometimes that can be a risky thing. And Darrell Henderson has filled in well in the past as well, so I think you'd be smart to pick him up to cover your handcuff with Cam Akers. And I guess maybe I'll stop there because that's... Oh, yeah, and Jamal Williams. I like Jamal Williams a lot too as your handcuff for DeAndre Swift. He's a good running back as well, that even with the two of them there, if they're both healthy, he kind of has the pass catching role there, and he does get some goal line work as well, so that's a good handcuff.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned Darrell Henderson, because we don't know if Cam Akers is. We don't know how he's going to perform this year for a full season. We haven't really seen him play for a full season, and there's always that. There's always the slight chance that you could re-injure your ACL and your ankle and your ligaments again.
Right, or just even the first year back from a lot of those types of injuries, the more devastating ones, it takes 2 years to fully kind of get back to what they were. So that's always a concern as well.
And you can probably get Henderson pretty late, like maybe 11th round, 10th round?
Yeah, he's a later round target. I'm not sure. It just depends on your draft and if you got any Rams fans in there, or that always seems to affect drafts. If you're talking like your home leagues and stuff, if you're drafting online, then it's a lot more. Things are a lot more kind of by the book, by ADP, because everyone's drafting from the same list on whatever website they're drafting. But I think with home leagues, the later you get, the more scattered it gets around, away from all these ADP ratings and stuff, and people just start picking guys that they want or filling position groups or whatever the case. So the late round guys definitely get a little more jostled around in their rankings.
Do you have any more guys on your list?
I could mention a few quarterbacks. Guys that I like late that I think maybe have a chance at having good seasons. Now, I like, especially in a single quarterback league, I don't even know if I would draft any of these guys. Like maybe they just sit on the waiver wire and you grab one as the case may be, as you need it if someone got hurt. But I kind of, actually they're all grouped right together here. Daniel Jones, Carson Wentz, and Jared Goff, I think all three of them have a chance to have decent years this year. Goff we've seen before. I just think that now this year he's got better weapons around him than he did last year. Really than he has since he went to the Super Bowl with the Rams. I think that their lines have built something pretty nice there, and they've got a decent offensive line that should give him some time. So I do think Goff may be an under-the-radar guy that might have a good season. Carson Wentz, he's got Terry McLaurin is a beast, and Carson Wentz has gotten it done in the past. He probably throws a little too many interceptions and makes dumb decisions, but he does have the rushing upside a little bit, and I just think that he would be worth a shot, especially if you did have Terry McLaurin on your team. And then Daniel Jones, I think this is kind of his prove-it year, whether he stays long-term with the Giants or whether he ends up just kind of going off and becoming a journeyman quarterback. So I think Kadarius Toney, Galladay, and I think Saquon is back at full strength, which helps big time, especially if you do some dump-off passes. And then he does have some rushing ability. So those are kind of three sneaky late-round quarterbacks that I kind of like.
We saw Daniel Jones' rushing ability that one season.
When he tripped on the 20 or whatever it was.
He almost made the end zone.
Yeah, he would have made it if he didn't stumble.
And that's why I'm mentioning it.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
But yeah, I could definitely see a bounce back year for the Giants team, and obviously that would help all your fantasy assets.
Yeah, all the Giants guys are probably being underrated. Same with Detroit, I feel.
Is it that time?
Sure.
Welcome to the next segment, a bold sports prediction.
Bold. Get ready, have your mind blown.
Have your mind blown. Go empty the bank and do as we say. Just kidding. We are not professionals. So, for my bold sports prediction this week, I'm going to the landscape of the NHL. And we are in free agency right now. It's been a bit of a different free agency. We're watching Calgary kind of just crumble. If you're a Calgary fan right now, I feel for you because you're going through some shit no Canadian team, no NHL team wants to go through.
Yeah, Jets are sort of in the same boat, except for they just haven't made the moves yet. but it's coming. Eventually, some of the longtime fan favorites are going to be gone right away.
Yeah, as a Winnipeg Jet fan and resider, this is where we live in the middle of Canada here. We are basically in the same situation as Calgary. We got Dubois talking about leaving in a year or two.
Well, probably this year, I think.
Yeah, looks like the Jets might be even shopping him at the moment. So back to my bold sports prediction here. It's regarding Matthew Tkachuk. I actually have him on one of my dynasty squads. Shout out to Gong Show Hockey League. So yeah, to me, it feels like he wants to go to the States. His dad lives in St. Louis. I think he's had enough of just living in Canada with these strict rules, and he turned down apparently an $11 million a year contract for 8 seasons.
Woof.
He's a very confident kid. His bro plays for Ottawa, but I think he wants to go to the States, and so my bold sports prediction is I think he actually gets traded to St. Louis.
St. Louis, okay. That's pretty bold because I think he goes somewhere else, but we'll see. I guess it's in Calgary's hands. So, my bold prediction for this week, I'm going to stick with this episode should just basically be called the Kyle Rudolph episode, because I'm going to predict. I was looking at his career numbers, and the most touchdowns he has had in a single season is 9. I'm going to say he gets to double digits with Tom this year. That's bold.
I see a trend this episode. Do you guys?
Much Kyle Rudolph love.
Kyle. So yeah, if you're listening, Kyle, we a couple Vikings fans here, we kind of rooting for you. We could see a scenario where you catch double-digit touchdowns this year.
Yeah. This is mostly because Tom's his quarterback, so that's why I'm going there.
Yes, this is mostly because Tom would be throwing him the ball.
Yep.
We've all seen what Tom can do. Over and over.
100%.
So yeah, that is it for this week's episode of Two Canadians Football Podcast. I'm your host, Matty P.
I'm C-Money.
And we will see you later.
Peace.